Grab your rock hammers and your tweezers. We're digging up dinosaur bones.
Here's our review of Fossilis. Fossilis is a grid movement set collection game where you are a paleontologist digging up dinosaur bones.
The first thing that you do in order to play Fossilis is set up the dig site. You take the tiles and cover up the holes where the dinosaur bones are.
During the game, each player takes a turn performing various actions.
Some of the various actions include gathering plaster, which will allow you to dig up bones later, moving your character around the dig site, digging up bones, or moving the sand, moving the clay, or moving the stone around on the dig site.
The objective of the game is to dig up various bones to match on certain dinosaur cards. Once you have the complete set, then you gain this dinosaur and the points that are awarded with it.
You keep taking turns until you've gone through 3 events and you've gone through all of the plaster.
You can earn points for bones, types of dinosaurs, supplies, and other various types of things.
The player with the most points at the end of the game wins.
I will say, Kenny, when you pulled this game out, I was a little underwhelmed. Almost borderline about to become disappointed just looking at everything that was happening. It did have dinosaurs in it though, so I was going to keep an open mind.
Why were you underwhelmed?
This plastic thing, the dig site thing, just looked, no offense, it looked cheap. However, when I touched it and played with it, it was good quality. Just, I don't know, overall, it didn't really grab my attention. Like the pieces, the artwork of mostly this area. I mean, the dinosaurs are great.
To me, the look of it is what initially grabbed my attention. Based on seeing it all over social media, I went to our friendly local game store and I picked up the game so that we could play it.
After everything's said and done, I'm glad I kept an open mind and I'm glad you got it.
One of the first things that drew me to the game based on what I read online was that you were supposed to collect dinosaurs using the bones as the tokens to collect the dinosaurs.
As you were setting up the game, I didn't see the bones. I just kind of saw the tiles, that thing, and then you were shaking it up. I was like, eh. But then when I actually look at the bone pieces and everything, I was like, all right, that looks pretty cool. And then I get to match it now to the dinosaurs. And
when you're first setting up the game, you put the bones in the dig site and then you put the cover over it, shake it up, and they actually move around and change position. And then you add the tiles on top of it using the cover, and you don't actually see where the bones are. So that as you reveal the open holes, when you knock off the sand or the clay or the stone, then you get to look, everyone gets to look in and go, oh, what's in there? So you have the rib cage, so what Lee's talking about with the bones, and you have the little femur, and then you have the little T-Rex skull. When you do dig out the bones and use the little tweezers, it is just fun by itself, just to dig out the bones and be like, oh, because it kind of reminds me of the game Operation, where you don't want to hit the side. Might have been funny if they...
On that note, I did feel when we were playing, there was a lot of, all right, where's the tweezers? So if you ever lose those tweezers, you're gonna have a hard time. That's not what I wanted.
During the game, you score points. And at the end of the game, you use the board to keep track of your points as you're going around and adding up all your points. And you could lap or sometimes triple lap this board a couple of times. You're like, oh, I'm at 100 and something in here. So the way that the scoring on the board works could have been higher than 50 because I feel every game that we played, we scored above 50. When you play the game for the first time and you get to the end of the game and you start adding up the scores, you're like, okay, I got all these points for dinosaurs and bones and tools and supplies and the bonuses on the card and the bonuses for the combos and the bonuses for having the most of each thing and it starts adding up. You're like, where are all these points coming from?
I will say one layer that I didn't think about or keep in the front of my mind were these little combos, these little icons on the top left of the cards. You kind of have to make sure you remember what you're collecting because at the very end, that can really add up points.
The game is pretty even for all the players playing for the most part. Unless you get a rock hammer and then you get a skill and add it to your card that gives you an advantage. Everybody can take the same amount of moves on their turn. How you use the moves is up to you, so that's the strategy. And then as you reveal the hole, people can still go across the board and dig out of your hole. It's not like once you reveal a hole, you're the only one who can get what bones are inside of that. I feel everyone has a chance to earn a lot of points in this game, so you never feel like you're in last place and you don't want to play to the end of the game. The plaster element is something that kind of threw me off a little bit, because you take the plaster, 4 per player that are playing, and you stack it on top of the events. When you run out of that, then you have your first event. Then you stack it on top of the next event. When you run out of that, then and so on and so on. But when you run out of plaster, the game is over. I feel like that doesn't give you enough opportunity to collect plaster to dig bones, because you need the plaster to dig up the bones.
The plaster, I wasn't really sure how that tied in. So that's probably because I don't know much about paleontology. And
so when they're out digging up the bones,
they
put plaster over it, and then they just take the whole thing into the lab. So when they're chipping away at it, they don't break the bones.
I did not know that. So not knowing that, you look at that, and when you're about to play and you're like, what are the white cubes? It's like, oh, it's plaster. All right, plaster. So what are they? It's like, how they're like energy. Okay, boom, energy cubes. Continue. We'll just call it that for now. Okay. So I apologize for questioning the quality of it. It is very well made, so that in mind. I would say overall I'm going to give the game a 7.5. I really enjoyed it, love dinosaurs, and the tools, supplies, everything came together very well. Plaster.
Overall, I'm going to give the game an 8. I like it a lot. It should be a great game for families, especially families with kids that are interested in dinosaurs or want to have an interest in dinosaurs. It's a lot of fun, and there is a little bit of learning while you're playing.
And Teresa gives it a 10.
And Juliana gives it a 6.5. And that was our review of Fossilis.
What'd you think? Are you ready to relearn some new things about dinosaurs? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you like our content, please subscribe to our channel.
Until next time, I'm Lee.
And I'm Kenny.